Hey y'all, it's Rachel at Mr. Nola's Glitter. How you doing today? Today I'm bringing you a special video that I have been asked to collaborate with. Taylor over at Duncan Airbrush reached out to me and a bunch of other tumbler makers that also have YouTube channels and asked us if we would like to collaborate on this super project. So he has designed some cool graphics for us. He has sent us all our own version of it and asked us to create a tumbler in our own way. So I was super excited about this project because I think it's really cool. It's going to be cool to see the same thing, but a bunch of different spins, right? People, we worry about finding our own style, and, you know, people are worried about overdoing a style or a design or whatever. So I talk about a lot in my other videos about it doesn't matter if there are 15 people out there doing the same design. There's only one you. So there's only one you and only one person that's going to do it exactly the way you do it. So even though that there's going to be 5 or 6 other people that do this same tumbler, we're all going to pick different colors, different techniques, different styles, and so it's really going to show you guys and open the world up to you guys to see that it's not important on who came up with this design first, or who hashtagged this design or whatever. You do you. You put your own spin on it, you put your own heart in your art, and it will show through. So with that being said, I'm going to show you the finished product, and then I'll teach you how we did it. So this is my finished tumbler. As you can see, this is the custom art that Taylor sent to us. This is, I think it's printable vinyl. I'm not sure. You'll see my oopsie doopsie later. And then I used clear cast from Crafty Thriving, and then the Powerwash, and 3 different colors of spray paint. So this was my version. I think it came out pretty good. I think I'm excited about seeing the other versions and seeing how everyone else put their own spin on this. So without further ado, let's get to it. So first we're going to start off with a sanded tumbler. I sand it with a sanding block that I get off of Amazon, and then I wash it and dry it, and then I use a white matte spray paint to base coat most all of my tumblers. I'm going to show you a little trick that I picked up while I was in Utah a couple months ago from Leslie at Crafty Thriving. She showed me how cool it is to get your glitter on your base when you just want a thin layer of glitter. So this is going to be an all-in-one step. Instead of applying your epoxy and then your glitter and then epoxy over it, you're just going to spray paint your cup close to the color that you want your glitter to be, which in this case for me it's going to be white. And then you're going to mix your epoxy just like you did normally, and then you're going to mix your glitter directly into the epoxy to apply it to your cup. So here I am mixing equal parts of A and B. We are using Mr. Nola's glass coat. So as you see, I do not stir my epoxy slowly. I whip it like a cake. I stir it fast and furious. This is introducing bubbles into our epoxy, I am aware. But with Mr. Nola's Glitter glass coat, we have a de-gassing agent that is built in, so those bubbles will effortlessly pop once we get them on our tumbler and it gets to settling up. So here I have mixed 20 milliliters of A and B together, which is a lot for this tumbler, but I'm going to do another tumbler after this. So I just wanted to go ahead and mix it. I make sure that I scratch or scrape the sides off really well and scrape off my metal stick to make sure that I'm mixing it, getting everything mixed together, scraping across the bottom. You want to make sure that you don't have any bits of A or B that's not mixed in together, right? So I just continue mixing, and then we will move on to the next step, which is going to be, I'm going to show you how I mix my glitter into this epoxy. So I'm going to let this sit for about 5 minutes and I'll be right back. So now that it's set about 5 minutes, you can see it's starting to clear up. Those bubbles are rising to the top already. So I am just going to take my glitter. I'm going to use Debonair from the MNGkrewe collection, and I'm going to shake as much or as little as I want into my cup. I don't want this to be super, super glittery, but I want it to have sparkle under the spray paint. So I just used a couple shakes, and then it's ready to go. As you can see, it mixes in really well, and it's going to be really easy to spread on the tumbler. So this is how I apply my glitter when I'm trying to do a quick base coat. It's not a full coverage glitter this way, but when you're using clear cast, you do like to have that sparkle under there, and so this is perfect for that. And it's also perfect for the power wash, because if you want a little sparkle to come out from under those painted splotches, this is the best way to do it. So if you're using a speed dry epoxy, which I'm not here, but this would only take you 2 hours if you're using a faster setting epoxy. So this will take probably 7 hours to cure, doing it this way with the glass coat. But once it's dry, then we are going to be ready to move on to the next step. So I'm just making sure that it's even-ish. I say ish because you're not going to get it perfectly even, but you have to remember this is not going to be, you're not going to see just this. You're going to see, it's going to have a lot of different layers on top of this. So you're not going to see that it's imperfect under here. And like I've said a million times before, I'm not a perfect cup maker, so I'm perfectly fine with this. So once this cures up, it's going to be like smooth as glass, and you're going to have some sparkle, and you're going to have a really good base to go on. So after I finish applying everything as even as possible, I'm going to take my torch and going to torch it just a little bit to make sure that there's no bubbles, but this glass coat has degasser built into it, so the bubbles really rise to the top super easy, but this is just for a preventative measure. These are the spray paints that we're going to be using today. I'm going to be using Gloss Sunbeam from Krylon, Gloss Pumpkin Orange from Krylon, and Gloss Purple from Rust-Oleum. You can use matte or gloss for this step. I just thought that these really matched perfectly with the decals that Taylor sent over. The next star of our show is going to be the Dawn Powerwash. This is super cool. I have no idea who came up with the idea of spraying this on a tumbler and then putting spray paint on top of it, but bravo, bravo, bravo. Now let's move on to the fun stuff. This is my cured tumbler with that thin coat of epoxy and glitter, so it's super sparkly. This is one of 2 of the decals that Taylor sent to me. Thank goodness that he sent 2. I'm going to show you why in a moment. So I'm just placing my decal where I want it to center in my cup, and it's very hard because I'm doing this with one hand, so bear with me. This is a beautiful image, and I think the colors that he picked were perfect for me. So I'm placing this pretty much in the center of my cup. This is where I'm going to create my biggest clear space or blank space when I'm using the power wash. And so I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to move on into the sink now. I have my decal placed down. This is where you're going to see my oopsie. So I'm going to take my power wash and I'm going to spray everywhere that I don't want to be colored. So everywhere I put this spray of power wash, it's going to be white glitter under, okay? So then I'm going to just randomly spray this spray paint and blotches around my cup. I'm going to use all 3 colors and just give it like just a random kind of tie-dye-ish looking effect. Just making sure that I'm getting everywhere that doesn't have the power wash. And then I am going to run this underwater quickly And there you go. Look how easy that was. With the exception of printable vinyl will run when it's underwater. So now you will see my decal dripping and oozing like crazy. So whoopsie. All right guys, so that was my oopsie. Printable vinyl does run when you put it underwater, so I'm so glad that Taylor sent me two. So I'm going to take the second one and place it where I had the first one. I removed the first one because it was all yucky. And then I'm going to use these leopard spots from a clear cast pack from Crafty Thriving. So as you can see, I've cut a bunch of little pieces out. This is a clear eco-solvent vinyl that is printed from Crafty Thriving. So once you put this on top of your cups, you'll be able to see the glitter under it, so it'll look like you have glittered decals, right? So this is just me cutting little pieces out. So I made sure I had enough just to fill in those white spots that I used the power wash on. So we're just gonna cut out some of this, and I'll be back for more. Now that I have a few of these spots cut out, I'm going to go ahead and place my good decal in the center of this cup where I left the biggest void with the power wash. I'm struggling to get it off the back, but now I have put it right in the center, pretty much center-ish. We all know that I can't get things on straight, so that is going to be the focal point of my cup. And so now I'm going to fill in all of the other white spots, spaces where the power wash left white glitter, with all of these pink leopard print to fill it up. Now that we have all of our spots and our decals in place, we are ready to move on to epoxy. Let's do one more final coat on this beauty. Okay guys, now it is time for our final coat. We will be using Mr. Nola's Glitter Glass Coat Epoxy, right here. I will also be using just a touch of Imperial Woodpecker. It is our snowball. It is like a champagne gold. I didn't really want like silver because I like have some other colors going on. So I'm just going to use like a teeny tiny, whoop, a little bit of that, okay? So you don't need a lot. So let me mix this epoxy real quick. I've already showed you how I do that. And then I'll be back and I'll show you how I apply. All right, now I have my epoxy measured out. And I'm stirring it. I use 25 milliliters of each side. I know it's a lot. I have another cup that I'm going to base coat after I do this. So I try to mix as much as I can, if I can, at one time. So I only have to do this once. I'm super messy when it comes to epoxy. You guys know that already. And I also whip my epoxy like I'm baking a cake. We don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. You can mix it slow. You can use an epoxy mixer. You can do whatever you need. You'll notice that this kind of looks like it has a lot of bubbles. It does, but don't worry about that, because once you start using your hands and rubbing this into your cup, because we have that degasser agent built into our epoxy, the bubbles are going to pop pretty well on their own. If you still see some bubbles, by all means use a heat gun or a torch or whatever you need that makes you feel like you're getting the bubbles out. I will probably pass a torch over mine. It's so easy to get used to that. And I have decals on here, so I don't really want any bubbles on top. So I'm also going to show you guys really quick. You do not need a lot of any kind of mixative that you're going to add into your epoxy. Pretty much whatever's in the lid probably will be enough. I lied. So I will just take, I want to show you guys like teeny tiny. So my stick is a little wet still. So I have put my stick in, and see the end? That's pretty much all that I'm going to need. So then I'll just stir this in here. You can tell the coverage when you lift up your stick and you see the shimmer on your stick. I might want a little bit more, but not much. So I'll take all of that epoxy again. I will touch into that glitter, and that's perfect. Let me put the lid on here so I do not spill it. But now you can see there's just a teeny tiny bit of sparkle. Not a lot. You don't want to take away from your design, but you want it to, because it's already got glitter at the bottom of under this design, you just want it to really, really, really pop. So just a teeny tiny bit of any kind of those ultra fine glitters to add a little bit of pop. All right, so here we go. So let me turn you down, and so you can watch while I epoxy. All right, I think you guys can see. So I just take just a little bit. I just rub my hands all through it. I try to go in one direction. It doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that every single piece of this cup is covered. You don't need a super thick layer of epoxy over these decals, over this clear cast. Clear cast is really thin, and once you put the epoxy on top of it, it will disappear. If you guys have watched me for a while, you know that clear casts are my favorite. So I'm just adding a little bit of epoxy right over that decal here. And then I'm just moving all the way down. You can already see the little shimmer in this top coat. It's so sparkly. You're only going to need a super thin coat of this epoxy to cover your decals. I'm so glad that I was approached to do this little project. I think it's really important for creators right now to come together instead of working against each other, because we all have different talents and we all have different styles and ways of doing things. So it's really going to be cool to see all the different takes on this same decal and like other ways that these creative minds have thought to put them together. So it's really going to show you guys that it doesn't matter if there's already 15 cup makers in your area. No one's going to be able to create a cup exactly like you. So your art belongs to you and only you. You don't need to worry about, oh well, they're selling the same cup as me, or I can't sell cups because people already sell it in my area. It doesn't matter, because no one will ever be able to create something exactly like you. So if you have a style and you have ideas, get it out there. Let people see you, because I guarantee that if it's a style that people like, you just have to find your own customers. I've said it 100 times, probably 1,000,000 times to every person that will listen. Anyone can sell the same product. You're selling yourself. So if you're confident in selling yourself, everything else will just come gravy to you. So there we go. That's all we do. So I will take a, as you can see, I still have a lot left I'm going to put this to the side real quick. I'm going to pop off this glove, put a new glove on because I don't want to contaminate my torch, because I've done that before. I have epoxied my button on my torch. I told y'all I can't be trusted. Lightly take a little torch, pop out any bubbles that I might see, which I don't see any bubbles, but this is just for good measure. It makes you feel better. This cup is gonna be full. All right. So we will be back as soon as it dries. This is a quick setting. This is not a quick setting epoxy. This is just glass coat. So this will be about 7 hours, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the finished product. Thanks. And welcome back. All right, guys, this is our finished tumbler. As you can see, it is super sparkly. You can see that the glitter in that top coat just like really brought those lips alive. And you can see the glitter base that I used. And so there you have it. I would like to thank Taylor with Duncan Custom Airbrushing for involving me in this project. I'm super excited. I want you guys to look at the links below. I want you to go to Flynn's Sisters Boutique. I want you to watch her space for her take on it. Miss Kiss Creations, I think she's already posted her view, or I mean her tumbler that she did, the Purple Stitch, Sandy's Organized Chaos. All of these links will be in the description below. Go follow these other creators, guys. Go be inspired by all of the great talent that we have in this community, and just go do you. So I thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and check out all the links we have below. If you are a first-time watcher, viewer, thank you so much. Please give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Come check us out on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Instagram, the TikTokies sometimes. I don't know. I watch a lot of TikTokies, but whatever. But yeah, so thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye now.